Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Handmade by Ying with Donna. Today I'm working on the Vortex. I'm on month 1, week 3. And I want to thank you first and foremost for joining me along as I'm making this project. It's fun, it's going fast, and it's fabulous. So this month, we're going to look down to the table here. You're going to see that we have 2 separate pieces that we're going to be joining together. So let's get sewing. So this piece has 2 colors. It's got key lime. It's going to be our first one. So you just fussy cut. No great big rhyme or reason on how you're going to cut it. Just trim it out and set it aside. Then this one's got 3. And it's got key lime on it as well. So when I cut the key lime, I will cut for both pieces at one time. Just let me get my scraps out of the way. And it doesn't matter, rhyme or reason, which way you do it. But I'm going to do all of my folding at once to be a little bit more efficient as we're going along the way. My first color that I'm working with today is key lime. So I'm going to pull my key lime from my folder, and I'm going to pull my key lime chart, and it's right here. So I'm working on block, wait a minute, it's B1B. So I'm going to come down my color chart, and I'm going to look for B1B. And I'm going to look for B12. Because they're both on here, I'm going to be cutting them both at one time. So I'm going to go ahead and mark them off. B1, B1A is here. Okay, so we're going to mark that off. And then we're going to come down to this one, and it's B1B. B1B is piece 3. So we've got that. As you can see, it's working out really good. So let me pull these aside because I know what parts I need to cut now. So I've got my key lime, and I'm going to lay it out as best I can to make it as an easy of a cut as I can. So let me see. I want to make it really a good cut. That way, if I need another piece out of here, I've got it handy. I like to pin mine. It's just what I choose to do. So I'm going to fold this back, and I'm going to give it a good cut. And just trim it in. You want to make sure that you do not cut your tag. So I'm going to set this one aside, and now I'm going to pull this one over because I know I'm going to need this color. So I can figure out where I want to cut it from. Am I going to cut it from down here, or am I going to cut it from one of the sides? I'm going to cut it from up here on this top part, and I'm going to move my tag. And I'll slip my tag down here. Because I've got this selvage here, I'm going to lay it right in here and angle it the way that it needs to be. I'm going to fold it back on my crease line, and I'm going to see where I need to be. And I'm going to just fussy cut it in. And I know I've got more than enough fabric for that little piece. So it's going to more than enough cover. So I'm just going to roll it like this. And I'm going to pin it here so it stays out of my way, but I don't misplace where it needs to go. So my next one for here is going to be BI. So I want to find that. And that's a great idea. How cool is that? And I will show you what we cut from here. There's only one piece, and that's this piece right here out of all this. As you can see, we're not going to need all of that. But I'm going to use my highlighter, and I'm going to look it up because I'm going to follow what my pattern's telling me. I'm on B1B. So B1B right here, and I'm going to mark it off. That way it's done and out of the way. So now all of my bright idea color is going to be done. So as you can see, it's light enough. I can see through this fabric right here. And this is just an example of a different way to show you if you want to be skimpy or whatever with your fabric. I'm just going to finger press it in. And it's going to give me that little bit of a line that I can follow and cut this in. When I fold it back, you're going to see that I've got more than enough over here. So let's cut this in. You can use your add a quarter ruler. You can do it however you choose. So that's going to be my second color. So I'm going to lay that there. And then I'm going to come over here. I'm going back to my bright ideas. Now my block for here, I need to find HR. So let's go here. Into my filing system. My hand down into the handy dandy system. And we're going to get this little piece. I want to find my chart so that we can mark it off. HR is here. So I'm looking for B1A. And I'm going, B1A is here. So we're going to mark that off. And we're going to mark off right here. That way they're both done. And now I'm going to take this little tidbit and I'm going to come right here. I'm leaving more than 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to come straight down this side. And now we're going to file this. So let's go ahead and get this one sewed in. So I'll line it up here. Give it a little pinch and pull it over. I'm going to sew into the black lines. That's our seam allowance. And I'm going to finger press it. And as you can see, that came in really nice. Going to give it the heat love. Look up my acorn pin. It's been sitting for a little while. And give it a little bit of love down the seam. The acorn pin, in case you haven't caught it in any of my other videos, it really helps. And it helps a lot. It helps the seam lay flat. It's a form of a starch. And while this is sitting here, I also like to use my clapper. And that'll help that stay flat while I'm working over here on this next section. So now I'm going to look for CK. So that is my cactus. So I'm B1. B1B is the section that we're looking for. And it's telling me to mark off number 1. So that's going to be this one. So as you can see, we're making a lot of progress along the way. So I'm going to unfold here. And you've got all of your salvage here, so you don't want to play with that too much. And I'm going to lay this in. And I'm going to go ahead, so I don't waste fabric, and trim this end out because I don't need it. I'm going to lay this one in. Let me see. Let's do it like this. And we'll give it a little pin so it doesn't shift. Pull it tight. Then we're going to fold back here. And we're going to give it that 1/4 of an inch all the way around there. So we're going to fussy cut around here. And down here. And you've got more than enough. And then we're going to come down this side. So we'll fold this up and slip it back into our cactus. So our next color that we were adding was our bright light. So I've got that right here. So we're going to line it up. And I want to make sure that I'm down right where it needs to go. Let me just double check myself because I did fussy cut. I don't want to mess it up. I'll just straighten that up. So now I'll flip it back over and lay this one straight here. We're going to slide it in and sew this puppy up. back, flip it over, and as you can see, we've hit all of our marks. This one is done, so we'll move it out of the way. And now we're going to press this one in. Use the acorn pen all the way down your seam and give it the heat love. We're going to flip it over, pop the one that we had pinned, and we're going to come down like this. Then we're going to trim this out. Hold it back, and then we're going to lay our key lime in. Now I have that fussy cut, but I want to straighten that little tiny edge off of it just to make sure that I line up really well. So I'm going to lay it in, and I'm going to move everything out of my sew line. I'm going to slide it in. We're going to sew this puppy in. And go ahead and sew in all the way off of that black line. We're going to flip it over and we're going to finger press it in. Just one more time. Right there. Then I'm going to show you something when you're joining your parts together that you don't want to miss out on. So stick with me just a couple more minutes and we'll have this one done. So let's go ahead and fussy trim this one in. Let me move this pin out of the way for now, and we will be using it again. And you're just going to trim all of this off. And you're going to trim over here. And we're going to trim here. And then here, and we will do the same to section A. Really important that you do this because what we're about to do now is create magic. So we're going to trim this in. Some people trim just the bottom sections that they're joining. I go ahead and just trim it all in at once. That way, as I'm watching for my lines, I'm sure I'm getting in exactly where I need to. Let me move all of my scraps. Put those in the scrap bucket and we'll join these pieces together. So as you can see here, this is the way this will go. We do have an assembly guide that they recommend we use. And right here, you'll see this. It'll come in with all of your months if there's any pieces that they want to show you how to assemble. So as you can see, A is going to go to the top just like this. And this is the way we're going to join this month. Now how cool is that? You've got your A1 and we've got our pieces here and it's showing and right here. So I'm going to mark this off. And that way I know I've got this piece ready to go. So I'm going to put myself a little tiny note. And I'll slide that over out of the way. So what you need to do here is you're going to slide these down just like this. And if you've never did a legit kit before, you're going to find the piece that joins right here in the center. You're going to pin right there. That way you're ensuring that that is going to line up. And you're going to come over to the ends, and you're going to stick a pin right here in this little corner. Then you're going to find the corner here in the next piece. And you're just going to have to bounce up and down a second until you get it. And you're going to pin there, and you're going to go to the next side and repeat just what we've already done. But it's really important, if you want everything to line up, that you hit these marks. Kind of like bouncing in the dark while you're lining them up. And if you've got everything done, you'll be able to finger press it down, and everything's going to line up. You can pin or you can clip. I prefer pins at this stage. I'm going to pull the first pin out, and I'm going to drop my pressure foot, and I'm just going to back tack it in. You do not have to. It's just something I choose to do. I'm going to go slow and steady, and I'm going to get it all in straight on that line. You're going to feel where it meets up with those seams that you've pinned in the center. And it's really important that they line up. And that's going to give you that effect that you're looking for. And then when you get to the end, you're going to back tack it in because you want these blocks to stay. You're going to gently unfold, and then you're going to flip it back. And this line here, it's really important. Right now is the time to do it, is take this paper out. You don't want to leave it when you're joining these. It's just going to cause you more issues. Just go ahead and rip these out. And it's a little bit of a mess. You don't have to get every single piece, but I prefer to get as much out as I can. Flip it over and repeat. You need these out of there so these will lay open for you. When you're joining these, they need to lay open. And this is another prime example of your acorn pen and why it comes in handy. So I'll pop my pen. I'm going to press this open. I'm going to finger press it the first go around, and then we'll do the heat with the acorn pen. So I'm going to give it a little bit of pressure on one end, and that just helps me to separate this seam. And I'm going to finger press it every step of the way for the first time I'm going across it. Now it's opened, and I'm just going to give it the heat all the way across. And if you want to see magic come together, this is the best way, I'm telling you. Right there, that laid shuts. So I want to make sure that I get that open. And now I'm going to give it the acorn juice here as well. And it's just, these are going to be stored for a hot minute. So while they're stored, I want to make sure that everything stays as flat as possible. And as I'm working mine, I will be putting them into a file system that says month 1. And then it'll go month 2 and so on and so forth until they're all complete. So let's flip this puppy over. We'll give it a little bit of heat straight across. And as you can see, the magic has now happened. Is that not a beautiful block? Perfectly square. I didn't have to do any secondary trimming, and I love it. So I hope that you've enjoyed week 3 of month 1. I'm telling you, it's gorgeous. Love, love, love. So I'll see you back again next week so that we can do block 4. Thanks a lot for joining me for Vortex. Talk to you later. Bye-bye and God bless.